The turn of the calendar to 2022 means college hockey's second half is here, and we will get you ready for it on this week's edition of North Dakota Hockey Central, your television home for all things UND hockey. I'm Alex Heinert. Coming up, we will chat with Brad Berry about how his team has readied itself over the holidays to resume the pursuit of the Penrose Cup and beyond. Plus, we will get to know one of the surprise stars of this Fighting Hawks squad, freshman Matteo Costantini. First, though, we are proud to bring you the latest installment of Through These Doors for a closer look at what the nation's top hockey program has been up to. Enjoy.
After a successful first half of the season, the North Dakota players were ready for a much-needed winter break.
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously the holiday break and getting to go home, more of the mental reset than anything. Obviously some guys were banged up physically, so taking that opportunity to just get healthy, but more than anything for myself, and I know for a lot of guys, it's just taking that mental break, getting to see family and resetting for the second half.
Yeah, it was nice going home, just seeing the family and eating some food that I like back home, but my dad likes to cook a lot, so just fueling up there, trying to get some weight back. I know I'm pretty light, so just try to get some weight and eat a lot of food. That's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, so we have a little rink in our backyard that my dad makes, so my little brother skates on that. I got to skate with him there a little bit. Got to watch my little brother play and see my other brother, and spend a lot of time with family around the youth hockey rink there and see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while.
While most of the team was hitting the reset button at home, a select few were once again chasing a world championship.
Yeah, the World Junior team, pretty hard team to make. You start off playing for your junior team or your college team, and you need to be a high performer there, and hopefully get selected for the World Junior Summer Showcase. And the coaches do like a little interview process throughout the way, and hopefully you get selected to the 25-man roster, and that's when you know that you're on the team.
So we had camp in Michigan for about a week, and then we flew out to Red Deer and had to isolate in the hotel for a couple days. But other than that, when we got out, we were just normal practicing for a couple days, and got one exhibition game in, and then played one game before the tournament got canceled, which was a bummer.
Going out there, you want to play games, but we got a couple games in against Slovakia and Finland, and the game against Slovakia, they were a super young team, but they definitely gave it to us at times.
They have some skill, some underrated skill, and some really good young guys on their team, but we just played our game. It was our first game, so we made some mistakes here and there, but our goalie played strong, and we just had a good depth all around in our team.
The night after the Slovakia game, we went home, and we're in the hotel. Next morning we get a text in the group chat saying that we need to stay in our rooms, and two guys texted in the group chat that they had tested positive.
Kind of just had to hang out in our hotel rooms with our roommates. Our staff was just trying to figure everything out, and all the medical doctors were in contact with all the tournament staff, and a lot of players really didn't know what was going on.
After that we were gonna try to continue to play on our game, but later that day, the game was canceled, and then the next day there were other games canceled, and that's when the IIHF got together and canceled the tournament.
I think going into camp and just being with the guys for about 3 weeks, we knew we had the team to win gold. Couldn't do that with the tournament getting canceled, but if it's rescheduled for the summertime or any other time, we know we're going to take an opportunity of that, and we'll be excited when the time comes.
As the calendar turned to a new year, UND welcomed a familiar program to the Ralph for their annual exhibition.
Yeah, obviously the week coming into the exhibition, practice was tough, getting back into shape and getting the heart rate up, daily strain. So there's probably 3-4 hard practices last week. We were a little short on numbers as well. But getting into the game, I think we just mentally we weren't there after the break. I think we were still on Christmas break a bit.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're a really good team that just shows we can't take anyone lightly, and we can't just play a skill game. Like, we can't just rely on our skill. We got to work hard and compete for each other. And when we do that, that's how we win games. We're not going to win games just by using our skill and trying to be fancy. I mean, we got to put our nose to the grindstone and try to just work and outcompete teams.
When you play for the U18s and you play against, high-level colleges, the North Dakotas, the Boston Universities, the Wisconsins, and like all those teams, like you look at those games and like you really get amped up from, and like that's like your bread and butter. Like, you want to win those games, and yeah, they definitely wanted it, I think, a lot more than we did. So I think that we needed to look ourselves in the mirror a little bit and have a good week of practice and get ready for Cornell.
I know we're gonna have a big response, and I know that I kind of just set the tone, just getting our legs underneath us again. But I know we'll have a big response, and we'll be ready to go for this next weekend.
Yeah, much more serious, obviously. It's not exhibition anymore. This matters, our last non-conference of the year. So it's a big series for us, for pairwise standings, of course. So yeah, we're just like we approach any other NCHC weekend. It's just like conference play to us. We need to make sure that we're ready to go, and that's what we focus on coming into a series like this.
I think that we're really excited, turning the page from the U18 game. I think that we've had an excellent week of practice, and playing some new guys and some new faces on the other team will be a lot of fun. And I get the chance to play against Cody Askin, who I grew up watching and playing with every summer. So I'm really excited, and I think that the guys are also super excited, and yeah, we're ready to go.
I think there's a different approach. I think obviously none of the guys on our team have played Cornell. I feel like the coaching staff has to dig a little bit deeper with some video and whatnot, but the focus is on our team, not their team, so we just do what we do in practice and then perform the game.
I think we just gotta be mature and just be ready to compete. I mean, we gotta show up and play our game no matter who we're playing, and when that happens, that's when we have success. So I think we're really excited to be back in the Ralph on Friday and Saturday for a big weekend.
Great job by our own Marty Mueller, Jeremy Klein, and the rest of the Through These Doors crew. Within that episode, you saw some of UND's matchup with the U.S. national team U18s. Brad Berry will join us next to give a little more context on what happened in that exhibition game and how North Dakota can learn from it. Welcome back to North Dakota Hockey Central. Let's go inside Ralph Engelstad Arena, where UND head coach Brad Berry is standing by on the eve of the second half of the season. Brad, good to see you after the holiday break.
Yeah, Alec, all the best to you, and hope you had a great Christmas.
Yeah, same to you, Brad. Well, you and the team had 2 weeks off over Christmas to recover and recharge after a nonstop first half. Knowing how much of a grind the 6 to 7 month college hockey season can be, how necessary is this annual break for your program?
Yeah, it's very necessary in the fact that we didn't really have a weekend off in the first half, and it was as much as a mental break as physical. Obviously, we had some bumps and bruises, and like every team does midway through the year, but getting that mental break and just taking a breath and getting recharged and reset for the second half is a big deal, and especially when you can do that with your family at Christmas time is always a big deal.
I should ask, are you able to relax and enjoy the holiday season, or do you find it tough to do so with preparing for what's next on the schedule, the demands of recruiting, etc.?
Yeah, never. Yeah, that's a great question, Alec. Probably never. It gets out of your mind. Obviously, you don't have the pressure of playing games on the weekend, but you're always thinking about your team, always thinking about recruiting, always thinking about trying a step forward here on trying to make your team better for this year, but also what it looks like for the years to come.
Now, 2 of your players, Jake Sanderson and Tyler Clevin, weren't scheduled to have much time off because of World Junior duty with Team USA, but their stay in Alberta was cut short after the tournament was canceled just days after it began. As a former World Junior gold medalist, how much do you feel for Jake and Tyler and the rest of the players after this opportunity was taken away?
Well, first of all, it probably feels like their hearts were ripped out. You get there early, right after we literally played Colorado College. They both They both went out to Michigan, had a couple of practices, and they got on a plane and got to Alberta. And then you're ingrained with the World Junior team, and then they got an exhibition game in. They got one round robin game in, and then it was called upon them as far as not playing anymore. So it was probably a little bit like our season a couple of years ago due to COVID getting ripped out from underneath us, and you have that empty feeling. And I think Tyler, obviously he was really emotional, but I think Jake Sanderson was very emotional knowing that he was a team captain, and those are situations or opportunities that only come by so often to represent your country, and I think they really took it hard.
Well, as you mentioned, Jake had been named captain of Team USA. He and Tyler were vying to become two-time gold medalists at the competition. How have you seen them both handle the situation in the days since?
Well, I think it was tough to begin with, but they moved on and they moved past it. And I know, Tyler got back into our group right away and got a practice in and played against the U.S. team, and he's ready to go against Cornell. And Jake Sanderson stayed at home for a couple of days. He grew up literally an hour away from Red Deer where they were playing the games, and spent a couple of extra days with his family, and he's back with our group now. So a situation where they've turned the page. Obviously disappointment was there early on, but they've turned their page, and I know they're really excited about getting back with our group here and trying to do something very special here in the second half with us.
Back on the ice, you played an exhibition game on New Year's Day against the National Team Development Program to help get back up to game speed after the holiday break. What did you see from your team that afternoon?
Well, I think we were a step or two slow. And when I say that, the other team played very fast. They made plays, and they played a very structured five-man game, and I thought we weren't sharp in those areas. I think one of the things, our puck movement and our puck handling were a little bit off, but I do really think that we were a step slower than they were, and they were first to all loose pucks and winning the puck battles, and that's usually our identity on how we've had success in the first half. And I know our guys care. There's a lot of trust and care in that locker room, but we need to be better, and I think everybody felt that way after the game, that was a lost opportunity, and it was probably a learning opportunity for our guys to know how we need to play to have success.
The result wasn't what you were looking for, of course. What do you take from the 2-0 defeat to help your team now move forward?
Well, we take forward, it doesn't matter who you play, whether it's an exhibition game, non-conference, conference game in the NCHC. Whenever you get on the ice, it's both feet in and playing at the highest level that you can. And again, at North Dakota, we don't have any built-in excuses about the break and this and that and injuries and who's in the lineup, who's not in the lineup. It's about doing the job when you're out there. And I think the accountability factor is why we've had a lot of success here. And I really see us having a great effort here starting on Friday night versus Cornell.
You just mentioned it. The second half begins with your final non-conference test of the season, an important home series against Cornell. You close the first half on a 3-game win streak. How do you pick up this weekend where you left off in mid-December?
Well, I think it's everybody getting back to basics, playing that simplified, hard, heavy game, and, playing fast and playing together as a 5-man group. And, like I said, I think we learned a lot from the USA game on what we shouldn't do in a game, but learn from kind of previous games on how we have to play together as a team to have success at the end of 60 minutes. And part of that is having a great week of practice and building your week to where you need to be. And I know our guys will do that.
Mike Schaefer's team has traditionally been one of the best in the ECAC. What can you tell us about this edition of the Big Red?
Well, they're a big team. Every year they're a big team. They play hard and heavy, and they're scoring some goals. They used to be I think a team that usually played very structured defensively and waited for opportunities to score on the offense. But it seems like obviously they have that hard, heavy game. But now they're making plays. They've got a good power play. They have a situation where they play fast in the offensive zone, and we have to make sure that we possess pucks and we dictate play. And it'll be a great series. You got two similar teams that kind of play the same way and play fast, and it'll be a great weekend of college hockey.
Yeah, we think so too. Now, you've not played Cornell in over a decade. What are the pros and cons of facing an opponent you don't have much familiarity with?
Well, I think it's something new. There's freshness there, right? Like, when you're playing the same old teams from the NCHC or even the common opponents you play every year, like a Bemidji or a Minnesota in non-conference play, you know what's coming. But when you're playing a team like Cornell that you haven't played in years, I think there's some freshness and some eagerness, some excitement about playing a new team, and I'm sure they feel the same way. And anytime that you play a top team from the East, which they are, that gives you more, motivation and incentive to play your best.
That's a great opportunity, right, to make one more statement in non-conference before NCHC play resumes. Brad, as always, thanks for the time. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alex.
Thanks, Brad. Coming up next here on North Dakota Hockey Central, we'll check in with a freshman at UND who's having a season to remember. Meet Matteo Costantini right after the break. Welcome back. In recent years, North Dakota has had newfound success bringing in top players from the eastern half of North America, with Ontario's Drake Caggiula and New York's Shane Pinso at the top of the list. The latest find from out east is Matteo Costantini, who hails from just north of Buffalo and is putting together a standout freshman season.
Hi, my name is Matteo Costantini. I'm from St. Catharines, Ontario, and I'm a forward for the University of North Dakota. If anybody knows where Niagara Falls is in Ontario, I'm about 20 minutes north from there, in kind of like a smaller little city called St. Catharines, and also about an hour and a half from Toronto. Yeah, a lot of hardworking people out there. Got to shout out my parents for sure, Dino and Vesna. They've definitely been brought up in a hardworking environment and kind of translated towards me and my brother. And that's something that kind of my city takes pride in down there in St. Catharines. Yeah, you know what? Being a hockey player is one thing that everyone kind of dreamed of in our town. So yeah, from a very young age, before I can even remember, my parents had me in skates. You know what? It's been awesome kind of seeing the guys go through that organization and see all the young guys that have kind of found their path in the NHL, like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. I'm a pretty average golfer, I would like to say. I also like to play video games with the boys or maybe go hiking. I think I'm a pretty personable guy, pretty social, and I think kind of like interacting with other people is something I'm pretty good at. So between that and hockey, I kind of just I don't know. That's a tough question. Science. I'm not very good at science at all. That's why I dropped it in my last 2 years of high school. I knew I didn't want anything to do with it. Yeah, I would say probably like chicken parm or pasta and meatballs. Like growing up in an Italian household, pasta and sauce was something that we eat all the time, and I don't really think that's left me. So. Yeah, you know what? Once a year we would all kind of sit around the backyard, and my grandparents would have these like old Italian sauce maker things, and we'd get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and we'd be finishing by 7 o'clock at night, and we'd be jarring sauces. We'd like start with like 30 bushels of tomatoes, and we'd have to wash, cut, and like do it all, and then we'd have sauce for the year. So. I'm rooming with Brent Johnson. He's a freshman defenseman on our team this year. And you know what? Instantly we met, and we haven't kind of looked back from there. We've been kind of best buddies since then, and there hasn't really been that awkward stage when you meet somebody. We kind of clicked right away, which was awesome. So yeah, Brent Johnson's my roommate, and wouldn't want to have anyone else. I'd probably say Taser. Taser's one, and then there's a couple other ones.
Why Taser?
Honestly, I have no idea. There's just one that kind of was said by Chris Jandrick, and it kind of just stuck. So. Yeah, you know what? I was out in Penticton, BC last year. I think it was October 7th, because the draft got pushed back because of COVID. And I was sitting in the basement with a couple of guys on the team, and we were watching the draft, and then I ended up seeing my name pop up on the TV, which is an experience I'll never forget. And then actually that night I had to play a game as well. So, and then we ended up getting the win. So it was a pretty good day all around. Hi, my name is Matteo Costantini. I'm from St. Catharines, Ontario, and I'm a forward for the University of North Dakota.
He is one of the most likable young men you're going to meet. He's already in double digits in points this year with 5 goals and 5 assists in 15 games. Ironically, the next time Matteo takes the ice, he will play an opponent based just a few hours east of where he grew up. We will preview UND's upcoming matchup with Cornell when North Dakota Hockey Central returns. If you've been a little distracted over the holidays, we are here to get you caught up on the latest news around college hockey, starting with this week's DCUUSCHO.com poll, where Minnesota State solidified top spot this past weekend with a home-and-home sweep over then number 6 Minnesota Duluth. The Mavs have been number 1 for 3 weeks in a row and 6 weeks overall this season, while the former number 1 Bulldogs are now down to number 8, the lowest of 5 NCHC teams inside the top 10. The only non-conference series on the schedule and the final one for an NCHC team this regular season will take place in Grand Forks as North Dakota hosts the Cornell Big Red of the ECAC. It is a high-profile East versus West showdown one UND is ready to embrace.
Coming in there, they're a very good program, and year to year, just like us, they're consistently very good. And I think we know what to expect. I think we know what we need to do to play our best, and we're going to be ready to bring that on Friday.
Number 5 North Dakota against number 14 Cornell. The first meeting between the two since 2010 begins Friday at Ralph Engelstad Arena at 7 p.m. and continues Saturday at 6 p.m. with both games airing live on Midco Sports. Enjoy what should be an entertaining weekend at the REA, and then relive it all on our next edition of North Dakota Hockey Central in 1 week's time. Until then, on behalf of our Midco Sports crew, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the route.